One. Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad you decided to tune in. Today, Austin, I felt like a proud papa. You want to know who got the ball right after Yoshinobu Yamamoto? You want to know who got it first?
Who is that, Case?
That would be one Mr. Antonio Knowles. There is no outlet on earth that is more proud of Tones tonight than Dodgers Dawgs, especially Dodgers Daily. We've been covering Antonio, the young man out of Key West, went to Stetson out of college forever. He's a guy that was stuck in AA Tulsa forever, finally made it up to AAA Oklahoma City last year. And man, what a reward. Let me say this very clearly, okay? And I'm going to use the term that I want to use here to make a point. What a reward for Antonio Knowles to get the ball, the first guy after Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I think the organization pretty much knows. I'm going to let you talk on this show, I promise, Austin, but I'm pretty fired up about today. It was pretty fun. So I promise I'll get to you. But I think the organization knows this dude has been rock solid. He's been totally loyal. He's done literally everything they've asked him to do. Never complained, just does everything he's supposed to do. And by the way, he's actually been a very good relief pitcher. I think they took all that into the equation and said, you know what, Antonio? Sold out, first day of spring training. Have the ball, young man. And he took the ball and he ran with it. I'm on cloud nine right now, Austin. Super proud.
Man, and that's just the beginning of what this game is. First off, welcome back to Dodgers baseball. Dodgers had an exhibition game, spring training game, first one of the 2026 season. Final score, Dodgers 12, Angels 2. And you mentioned it right after Yoshi Yamamoto, they turned to Antonio Knowles. Just a couple things to be able to note. Last year, really successful season for Antonio, a 3.05 ERA for Tulsa and 44 1/3 innings pitched coming out of the bullpen. He's the one that we call a spin doctor. He's the one with that really nasty slider that you got to see on display during the game today. And I'm super excited that the organization decided to reward him during the game today. We're going to be showing some video, I believe, from the minor league section, only because we show footage from the game today. We will get cut down, and so we're going to show from the minor league section. But he has some absolutely nasty stuff. Actually, I believe he's going to be pitching in the World Baseball Classic for Great Britain. So he's excited to be able to do that. Dodgers decided to get him in the game early, which I think him being in the World Baseball Classic could play a little bit of a factor as to why he didn't necessarily get the unofficial, the official non-roster invite. But that does not mean that the organization, I think, is undermining the importance of what he has played for the organization for years at this point. Dating back to the 2021 season, he's been somebody that has not complained and has done everything that the organization has asked and just gone out there and put up some really successful numbers. Last year being really successful, ended up just getting one batter today, but found a way to be able to get that strikeout in the second inning, coming in from relief from Yoshi Yamamoto. Really exciting stuff. A lot of really exciting stuff from some of the young players in the system that we're going to be covering today.
Okay, and then, so Antonio Knowles, we've talked to him I don't know how many different times. Matter of fact, I have an interview just kind of hanging out there for whenever we want to get to it. We've kind of communicated that. I didn't want to bother him at the beginning of spring training, so I'll probably get one here the next week with Antonio Knowles. Super excited about him. And also told you about this little fart right here, Zach Earhart, man. This dude, you saw him draw a walk. You saw him get a base hit down the left field line. You saw him advance on a pitch in the dirt. Just baseball IQ, competitiveness. Really, really, really good player. I know we're going to get excited about a lot of people today, but Zach Earhart here, he got the start in right field today for the Dodgers. And man, my Oklahoma State fans, I posted it on the OSU site. They were going nuts too. And man, did he show for himself today. This is a really good player to the point to where even Rick Monday took notice of how smart he was. And by the way, also too, I promise again, I'm going to let you talk. I'm a little hyper tonight, Austin. So if I'm a little hyper, I'm sorry. I apologize. But, man, when you get all these guys in the same game, they show out, and it's this much fun, it's hard for me not to get hyper. But I also want you to note, too, as we move on through spring training, there is absolutely not anybody better on earth than Tim Neverett when it comes to calling spring training games and doing his homework on these young guys. He knows everything about them. And to be honest with you, we spend a lot of time with these guys. We talk to them. We dive in pretty deep into their backgrounds and all this. Every time he talks about a young guy, I learn something that I didn't know. So, just sit down whenever Tim Nervert's talking. If you want to know anything about these prospects, of course, if you watch Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network, you have a big leg up. You should have already known who these guys were before the game started today. But pay attention to Tim Nevert. He is fantastic on these spring training games.
Yeah, Tim is absolutely awesome. Both him and Rick Bunday do an amazing job for the spring training games. And when they are able to get in the booth for Dodgers games, whether on radio or on the TV side of things, they're absolutely phenomenal to be able to listen to. Dodgers have so many great radio broadcasters or TV announcers that are part of the mix. It makes for incredible coverage. You mentioned Zach Earhart, one of your Oklahoma State Cowboys, former Oklahoma State Cowboy, came over from the Dustin May trade.
No. No, he's not a former. There's no such thing as a former Oklahoma State Cowboy, Austin. Once a Cowboy, always a Cowboy. Okay, you can go out now. Yes, I told you I'm hyper, so sorry.
Yeah, no, and I think you're rightfully so, because I think one of the things, and I'm very new to Zach Earhart as an overall player, did not get the chance to be able to watch him in Oklahoma State like you did, but the numbers that he put up last year are absolutely impressive, especially when he came over and just immediately hit the ground running for Tulsa, 143 WRC plus. I want you today obviously had the walk, showed some patience. That's something that he has been able to show at the minor league level, is a good amount of patience. 12.5 walk percentage last year, also able to get in a pretty good amount of contact and some decent extra base power too on top of that with the double that he showcased today. With Zach Earhart, going from what you've seen in Tulsa and what you've seen at Oklahoma State, what is the one thing that you would describe Earhart as, and what is the thing that perhaps has impressed you the most about him, whether it's how he's grown throughout the years or what's kind of the biggest statement Earhart makes as part of this organization, and why should he be considered towards, if not at the top of the list of some of the Dodgers outfield prospects in the system?
He has many fewer holes. So, he has a very, very, very complete game. And a lot of times whenever you have a complete game, you're a jack of many trades, but a master of none. This guy, he can hit home runs. He's a little guy, but he's not a little guy. He has punch like he's a big guy, okay? He has a competitive streak that is just absolutely unbelievable. But it's not a competitive streak to where like he gets mad and frustrated and then he gets pissed at himself and it makes everybody around him upset or whatever. It's a competitive streak that really is contagious in a very, very, very positive way. He loves baseball. He eats, sleeps, and drinks baseball. He is a tremendous defender. He can play all three outfield positions. He has a good arm, very good speed. He takes great routes to the ball. He gets great jumps on the ball. He can hit pull side doubles. He can hit pull side home runs. He can hit opposite field home runs. He can hit the opposite field gap. He can steal bases. He understands how to run the bases. There just isn't anything that this guy isn't good at in the game of baseball. And there's a lot of things that he's actually really, really good at. So Zach Earhart, the way that I've described him since he was a freshman, a little fart on the Oklahoma State campus, right? Since he's been that guy, I've always described him as he's a little guy that's not really a little guy. And the biggest compliment I can give him is that dude is just a baseball player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love so much of what you said right there, because I think it's the well-roundedness of his game that, just looking at the overall numbers that he's been able to put up, particularly last year at the minor league level, that really stand out when you talk about Zach Earhart. One of the things that I think was critical that you mentioned right there, his ability to be able to play center field. When he came over from the trade to Tulsa, from the Boston Red Sox organization, starting off in Tulsa, 23 games in center field, only 5 in left field. Played center field and left field for the Tulsa Drillers, primarily in center field. One of the things that we haven't talked about yet, Zach Earhart stole 37 bases last year. He also hit 14 home runs with a 168 ISO, hit with a decent amount of power, and he doesn't strike out a whole lot.
Yeah. What does he not do well? Right. That's what I'm saying.
There is a lot of well-roundedness and completeness to the game of Zach Earhart, especially with his versatility in the outfield and particularly with his ability to play center field. he has so many complete tools to his game that can make him into a really effective ball player to where, man, the floor is just so high with a player like Zach Earhart. And if he can tap into some of the upside that he has too, it makes for an incredibly exciting future. It was an absolute steal, not just to get James Tibbs III, which kind of got all the headlines in the Dustin May trade, but to also get Zach Earhart in that trade as well. The Dodgers got an absolute steal in this guy. Had a really good game during the day today, a walk, and then double down the left field line. I'm really excited to see him continue going forward, and I think the Dodgers are going to give him a lot of opportunities in spring.
You know who I was pumped about? I was pumped about the way Ha-Seong Kim looked. I thought,
Yeah.
So we talked about on the last show, hey, this guy, of course, you're always trying to hit line drives, but your misses need to be ground balls. Well, guess what he did? He hit a ground ball right in the six hole, right in between the shortstop and third baseman. I thought he looked like he was ready to handle the velo of professional pitching. I thought he looked like he had a renewed approach at the plate, like he's trying to hit ground balls, trying to stay above the ball. He's a very north-south hitter, so that's always going to be kind of a difficult thing for him to do, because when you have a north-south bat plane, meaning your barrel's below your hands for almost the entire time it's through the strike zone, if you have any lift at all, that's going to lead to fly balls. So that's going to be kind of a tough thing. He's going to have to really stay over the ball longer than most hitters. But I thought Ha-Seong Kim looked really good, and man, woo, Teo Hernandez, let's freaking go, man. Let's start the World Series tomorrow and put Teo in the 4-hole. I'm sorry, I'm pumped.
Yeah, no, yeah, and
I'm probably annoying right now. I apologize.
No, you're fine. I think your excitement is at least warranted because we have not had baseball in the past 3 months, and
Yeah,
any
no
sort
kidding.
of baseball that we can have, especially when it is a 15-2 victory, absolutely warranted to get excited about something. And you mentioned Ha-Seong Kim, obviously huge spring for Kim. He's in a very intense battle with Alex Freeland for a second base opportunities while Tommy Edman is out. And it's going to be, they're going to try to get as many plate appearances, looks as they possibly can. And the first RBIs of the Dodgers 2026 season, at least if you count spring training, belonged to Ha-Seong Kim.
Yep.
Had that single in the first inning, had another single the next inning following that, a couple of really good hits. One of the things I'm going to be looking at closely with Kim is what does the swinging miss look like? I think that is one of the biggest aspects of there. He did strike out, but he was able to make some contact early in the game. So what I'm looking at particularly is some of the swing decisions and how much time is he going to be able to make consistent contact. If he can make some consistent contact, and if he can take advantage of being able to put the ball in play, be able to take advantage of using his speed to his advantage, that's going to be an incredible thing for Kim to be able to go forward. Really good start for Kim going forward. Just mentioning Alex Freeland, he had a couple of walks. I think there was 2 minor league relievers that came in after the original pitcher got taken out of the game. I think he walked both of those times. Had also the near line drive extra base hit, just foul, and then out during that competition. So that's going to be a battle to be able to watch. You mentioned Teoscar Hernandez, at least with the bat, 3 for 3 on the day. Really exciting to be able to watch that. The play in left field, obviously, is not what you want to see for Teoscar Hernandez, but we'll go look at the offensive component that Teo had and put out there.
Teo, dude, man. Been talking about how good you're going to do in left field compared to right field all offseason. The first ball you get, I mean, you look like Ned in the third degree.
Yeah, that is if you look at the numbers for Teoscar Hernandez, he was in left field 2 years ago, and there was a reason why a lot of Dodgers fans wanted to push him to right field is because some of his numbers beforehand were better in right field. I just don't think he's going to be the greatest defensive outfielder out there. But if he can hit, if Teoscar Hernandez can hit, if he can go 3 for 3, that's going to make up for even that defensive blow like that.
You know, it's like whenever you watch Blake Snell and it's like he has 8 walks and then he almost had 9 other walks, and then you look up and he gave up 1 run in 8 innings, and you're like, the whole time he was pitching, I was stressed out. I mean, and it's just, we all call it the Blake Snell experience. I mean, literally, if you watch today's game, you got the Teo Hernandez experience. You're like, dude, this guy's ready to like take it up to MVP type level. I'm being a little bit blue skyish here, but then all of a sudden he misses a fly ball, and you're like, oh yeah, well that's Teo Hernandez. So, yeah, you take the good with the bad. You got to remember that. So, definitely the full Teo Hernandez experience today.
Yeah, it was the full Teo Hernandez experience, and he's got to see a lot of different contributors be able to go out there and perform offensively. Obviously, you have to take the individual result and individual performances with at least a little bit of a grain of salt. It's first game of spring training, but you're looking for different things to be excited about, and Teoscar Hernandez getting 3 hits on the day, that's something to get excited about.
Okay, suckers. All right, I just said that, didn't I? All right, Luke Fox, we told you about this guy. We warned you about Luke Fox that if you are mature enough of a viewer to watch Luke Fox, he's not going to throw anything to home plate like a Kyle Hurt or even a Will Klein or even a Justin Robleski or a Ben Kasparius with a 3,000 RPM slider. He's not going to throw anything to home plate that you just go, wow, look at that one pitch that he just threw. But whenever if you have a mature view and you kind of know what you're looking at with Luke Fox, which if you've watched this channel in the offseason, we have prepared you exactly how to evaluate and watch Luke Fox. If you watch him in a mature way and you evaluate his entire outing and you look back and you go, man, he threw a slider to the back door. He threw a back foot sweeper. He threw his fastball to the top of the zone. He threw his changeup to the bottom of the zone. He worked north-south. He worked east-west. He changed speeds. He didn't walk anybody, although I thought he was going to. I think he did walk one guy. But, I mean, it was an effectively wild-type setup. And you look at it, you go, he threw 4 or 5 different pitches. He located to every quadrant in the zone. He was in command. He pitched to both sides of the plate. I mean, very skillful, execution-focused type outing. So I was very pleased and proud of the way that Luke Fox accounted for himself. And he cut his hair from what you've seen there. He cut his hair, so he had short hair, and I was like, I don't think he had his beard either. I was like, who's this dude? Oh, that's Luke Fox. Okay, cool. So sometimes they're hard to recognize if they change something in the offseason. But what did you think about Luke Fox?
Oh, I was so excited to be able to see him go out there. 3 strikeouts in his inning performance that he was given out there. He had a couple of different pitch mixes that he had, at least according to Baseball Savant, which I'm using this information for right now. But really was able to effectively mix his 4-seam, slider, sinker, and changeup. Got a couple of Ks. Got the first one with, I believe, what was technically the sinker. It was 95 miles per hour, basically right in there for the batter. Kind of froze him full count. And that's the thing with Luke Fox is he's able to mix his pitches really well. He's just an effective pitcher. And that's why he's been able to produce a lot of great results at the minor league level. Last year during the 2025 season, combined between Great Lakes and Tulsa, 2.85 ERA. In Rancho the year before, 2024, 3.52 ERA, and especially in the California League environment, that's a really good ERA for him. He's been effective, and he was able to get swings and misses from a couple of different pitches too. He got at least a swing and miss from his 4-seam, his slider, his sinker today. 50% whiff percentage. Not a whole lot of swings off of Luke Fox, but he was able to go out there and find a way to be able to get 3 strikeouts on the day. Did have the 1 walk, but it was just a little bit of a sneak peek and a preview of what he's got to work with. He's just an overall good pitcher to be able to go out there and throw there. Not the overall electric stuff. 95 miles per hour, I think, is what he hit, at least with his sinker. But really good stuff for Luke Fox going forward.
And you watch him, you go, how in the world did he strike out 3 guys? I mean, it's like it's not when you watch it, it doesn't just, like I said, I mean, it's really good stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's not just the most electric major league stuff you've ever seen. How did he strike out? Well, it's because the hitter up there, it's like you said, the perfect term. He's frozen. He's waiting for a changeup. He's waiting for a sweeper. He's waiting for a slider. He's waiting for a pitch in a different location. And then all of a sudden he just plays his fastball off of all that, and you can't pull the trigger, and he has a strikeout. So it's because of all that execution. It's because, as you just said very correctly, how he mixes things up and the way that he has a very advanced understanding of how to sequence, and then not just that, but also how to execute once he does all that sequencing. So what did you think about Josue De Paula today? I thought he looked, not Josue De Paula, but Zaire Hope. Zaire Hope looked like an all-star today, man. He looked like the prospect that everybody is excited to see.
Yeah, and that's what we've talked a little bit about with Zaire Hope. If you're looking at the hardest hit balls in play, just overall balls in play, Zaire Hope's got the hardest hit balls in play today. 113.9 technically, double that he had late in the game. Also had double play hit it at 108.6. Really good exit velos for Z. And that's the thing that we talk about with his offensive component. When he does make contact, he's got a ton of thump. And that is why people are so excited about his bat, because he has the offensive impact to really impact the baseball. And then also, similar to what he did last year in spring training, a highlight play catch in the outfield. He's athletic enough to be able to make some of those defensive plays. It was versatile in the outfield, mostly in the corners, but could play some center field too for Great Lakes last year. Versatile, can impact the baseball, and those exit velos. I mean, when you have a 114 in the first spring training game, that's gonna come off the radar a little bit, and that's gonna open up some eyes. This is some of the stuff that we don't have the data for technically, but this is the stuff that behind the scenes the industry takes a look at Zaire Hope, and why, in part, why they're so excited about him.
And I've said all off season, and got receipts. Let's go back to any show that we've talked about Zaire Hope. I am not worried about his strikeout percentages because, first of all, I don't worry about anything until they get to AA. But I think, a lot of times when we talk about, I don't want to get too excited about a prospect because I'm not sure how they'll do in AA. We'll see if they're talented enough. If they can make the adjustments. It's the exact opposite for me for Zaire Hope. I think he's going to continue to get better the higher the ranks that he plays, because he's going to have more information, and that information is going to give him better ability to research what pitches actually to swing at. And if Zaire Hope consistently over and over and over swings at the right pitches, there's no way he's not going to be a super impactful hitter. Just absolutely no way. I think the only way he wouldn't be is if he just doesn't know which pitches to swing at. He's not picking up spin. He's chasing the zone, that kind of thing. But I've said it all again. I've said it all off season. I think the better scouting reports are going to take advantage of that to an extent. Now, there comes a point to where there are major league pitchers that are just so good it doesn't matter, and we'll see there. But I think at the AA level, he's going to be able to overpower some pitchers with the good information he's going to have.
Yeah, he's a really smart kid, really humble with what he's able to take in. The clubhouse absolutely loves Zaire Hope, and they loved him when he was spending his time in Great Lakes. And I think the additional information that he's going to have as access is going to be able to help him. There certainly is still some swing and miss concerns that you can have with Zaire Hope just overall. I think it was about, 26% strikeout percentage for Zaire Hope last year at the Great Lakes level. But I think going forward, I think there is a lot of tools to be able to work with for him, and the impact that he's able to make at the baseball. That's the thing that stands out, is when he makes contact, it is loud and it is hard, and that's going to lead to a lot of really good opportunities for him to have a lot of success going forward, because even if the strikeout percentage is high, if he's making impact on the baseball like he has, that's going to lead to a lot of extra base hits. That's going to lead to, even if it's line drives, that's going to lead to a lot of different singles and base hits, and that's going to open up so many opportunities for him going forward. I'm really excited to see Zaire Hope continue his journey in the 2026 season.
Get honest, what do you think about Dalton Rushing?
Yeah, it was so the biggest thing with Rush is his swing and miss. And what is the swing and miss going to look like? Just overall, some of the positives that you could potentially see with that. I was looking at the number of times he swung and he missed. I think it was 1 out of the 7 swings that he had were an actual whiff, which that's going to be the biggest thing that I'm going to be looking at with Rush, is what is the actual whiff percentage look like for him in spring training. Got 4 plate appearances on the day. Did have the sacrifice fly, which actually was the furthest ball that was hit. I don't think it was one of those that was particularly impactful of a hit, or at least from what we've seen with Rush in the past. This is going to be something to be able to watch out for going forward. For Rush on the day, I believe it was 0 for 3 with the sac fly that he had. I'm not going to draw or take away too much, or 0 for 2, I guess it was what it was overall for him on the day with the sacrifice fly. I'm not going to take too much away from hit, but I'm going to be something I'm going to be watching very carefully to see how he does and what does the impact on the baseball look like. And more importantly with Rush, because this was the thing that was a massive jump for Rushing, was the swing and miss. Today, I think he just had 1 swing and miss overall on the day. If it's like that going forward, I think that's fine and reasonable and something that he can work on. But that's the biggest thing I'm watching out for.
Yep. No doubt about that. Okay, so let's move to our next guy. And I'm weird. I've seen Shohei Ohtani. I know like 99.9% of the people there being sold out. They want Shohei Ohtani's signature. They want to see Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They want to see Mookie and Freddie. I could give two craps about watching the veterans play in spring training. I've seen Mookie Betts hit before. I've seen Fred. I know they're going to – I want to see the battles. It's like whenever you watch a NASCAR race and the person in the lead is way out in the lead, a lot of people would just turn it off. You say, well, that race is over. Well, no, the best racing is like back there in fourth and fifth and sixth place to where they're all just kind of bunched up and you don't know who's going to pass who, and they need to post to be in this place and that. So I'm way more excited to watch Ha-Seong Kim, Alex Freeland, Ryan Ward, and, you know, like an Antonio Knowles and Adam Sierwanowski, guys like this, Ryder Ryan, who are on the cusp of possibly being called up this year if they can get off to a good start and kind of put a good foot forward. Those are the races and the parts of spring training that interest me. I'm probably weird that way. I'm probably way different than most people, but those are the guys that interest me the most.
Yeah, if Shohei Ohtani goes 0 for 30 in spring training, are we concerned about Shohei Ohtani? No, we're not concerned because we know what Shohei Ohtani's history has been and what he is likely to do going forward. And it is the guys on the margin that are fighting for opportunities where spring training actually means something for them and their position within the organization. You mentioned Kim and Freeland. There actually is something that is worthwhile looking at and being able to see them fight out through spring training to earn a spot on the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's some of these younger guys that are fighting for an opportunity or fighting to get a look from some of the people that are up in the upper levels of the Dodgers organization. Get a look from Dave Roberts. Get a look from pitching coach Mark Pryor. Get a look from all these different people to be able to fight for their opportunities. Shohei Ohtani is going to sell out a lot of different stadiums in Arizona this spring, and rightfully so, at least when he is part of the team before he leaves for Team Japan for the World Baseball Classic. It is because it is not something that you get to see every single day, Shohei Ohtani, at least if you're physically going there. But if you're looking for the actual battles that have some importance, Shohei Ohtani going 0 for 30 is not going to impact what his future is going to be. He's still going to be the leadoff hitter for the Dodgers. He's still going to likely make an impact during the regular season. And some of these other guys on the margin where it matters a little bit more, and you get to see a little bit of the fight. You get to see a little bit of that battle rather than I'm going to try to figure things out to be able to get my swing in a position to where it needs to be for the regular season. A little bit of a higher stakes for some of the other guys, which makes spring training, especially if you know the other guys that are coming in, some of the guys from the minor league level, just that much more fun.
Okay, what'd you think about Big Ski, Adam Sierwanowski? Of course, he has the big slurve. Everybody saw that slurve today. Like, whoa, that slurve is nice, especially the back foot of a right-hander. The unique windup. He is on helium. This is a guy, I'm telling you, he is big time on the Dodgers' radar. If you paid attention, we've been talking about him all offseason about how he's going to be Rule 5 eligible next offseason. Many times when a player that the Dodgers already know they are going to roster on the 40-man roster to protect from the Rule 5 draft, which they will protect Adam Sierwanowski. He will be on the 40-man roster this time next year. Hands down, period, end of discussion, full stop. That is going to happen. So a lot of times when that's the case, the Dodgers will say, well, since we have to put him on the 40-man in the offseason anyways, let's just go ahead and put him on the 40-man in August and give him a cup of coffee and see what we got. They did that with Edgardo Henriquez. They did that with Alex Freeland last year. So that is a plausible, I'm not saying likely or anything like that, but certainly a plausible scenario for Big Ski Adam Sierwanowski. Big slurve, fastball 95-96, working on a changeup, 3-pitch pitcher, unique windup, super competitive. What did you think about Adam Sierwanowski?
I think the biggest thing that stood out to me is he just looked comfortable out there. And I think that's the thing that stands out one of the things that can stand out when you're watching Big Ski Adam Sierwanowski. He's just comfortable out there. And you saw that with his approach that he had. Very heavy fastball usage. It was 67% fastballs on the day today, but he also threw out there that slider, that slurve pitch. I think it's technically what he described it at Dodgers on to Casey. You can go back and check out that interview with Big Ski Adam Sierwanowski. He just felt comfortable out there and started off the appearance today with a long battle. Ended up being a walk that off of the slider that he had, which he almost caught him with that front door slider. It was just missed with that. And then he goes to the next couple of batters, gets a couple of strikeouts on the day. Just really good stuff for Big Ski. Adam Serwanowski was really fun to be able to watch him mix some of his pitches. And even though it was mostly fastballs, and it wasn't there wasn't any swings and misses that he got on his fastball today. He was very much focused on that. And even if he's a 67% fastball type of guy, he's still able to go out there and get a couple of strikeouts and look very comfortable on the mound. I'm really excited to see what Big Ski can do in 2026. He's in line for a big season this upcoming year.
I would agree. What did you think about Ryder Ryan? I thought he looked good. I thought he looked very athletic. He's a guy, he's quad A depth. I'm not going to make any more of it than that, but I thought he looked good.
Yeah, he very much was good. When we're talking about this roster, overall, the construction of it, we've talked a lot about the holes that need to be filled in for the bullpen. And really what we're looking at out of the bullpen is there's kind of 4 different bullpen openings to go that are opened up before going into opening day this upcoming year, because it's filled in by Edwin Diaz, Tanner Scott, Alex Vesia, Blake Treinen. Those 4 are locked, but with some of the injuries that are happening with the rest of the roster, like a Brusdar Graterol or an Evan Phillips or there's a couple of injuries that are taking place. Brock Stewart is the other one that is injured at this point. There's going to be some openings for some of the guys, some of the non-roster invites, even if it's just one, to be able to fight for an opportunity, especially early in the season when the Dodgers have them as part of the organization. If the Dodgers know that they want to be able to fill some innings in early in the season, Ryder Ryan is actually fighting for a spot with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Might be a little bit more of a long shot, might not be something where he's favored to be able to make it, but he could potentially earn a spot on the roster, because last year, let's remember, at the beginning for opening day, I think it was Luis Garcia that started off the season with the Los Angeles Dodgers, a non-roster invite. I think that could be something that could be in play because of the quantity of openings that are open in the bullpen. Ryder Ryan is going to be fighting for that spot. Slider, very heavy usage on the day today. 50% slider. Got a swing and miss on that. Just 2 swings on it. 50% whiff percentage on that. It's curious to see him going forward. Don't have a lot of insight or information about Ryder Ryan before today, but he's going to be somebody that gets a lot of looks because the Dodgers could be looking for additional pitching depth. He's somebody, decent amount of big league experience, could be part of the mix.
Yeah, sinker, 4-seam, slider change, velo 93-94. I'm going to reach out to him and see if you might hop on Dodgers Daily and have a chat, have an interview, and we can't get to know him a little bit better and dive into him a little bit more. So I thought Ryder Ryan looked really good. We talked about Luke Fox, Zaire Hope, obviously, I thought looked really good. So who were some of the other guys that stuck out to you? Adam Serra. Now, let's go to Paul Gervais. Paul Gervais got the ball. I think he was right after Antonio Knowles. Paul Gervais, 7'6" extension, 6 foot. I think he's 6'7", 3-pitch guy, a guy that's working on a changeup, has the big slider and the big fastball. So, Paul Gervais, what did you think about him?
Yeah, he was a fun one to be able to go out there and watch. Big guy, really big guy coming out of there. You're looking for some of the swing and miss stuff with Paul Gervais and what he had, because he had a lot of really good swing and miss stuff. 5 swings and misses on the day today. That was really exciting. Slider, 4-seam, and then cutter that he threw out there. Kind of mixed a really good mixage between all of them, and was able to actually get his 4-seam and his slider were some of the pitches that were able to get some swings and misses on the day today. I was really excited to be able to see him go out there. And what was also cool to be able to do that is it was during some of the major league talent that he went out there and had a good performance at, because this was still early in the game before some of the Angels starters went and left for the game. And one of the plate appearances that kind of stood out was that plate appearance with Joe Adell. He got 3 swings and misses on there, 2 with the slider, and then he ended it off with a high 4-seam fastball up in the zone that got a swing and miss as well. That's some of the stuff that you're going to be looking for with Paul Gervais. Scoreless appearance for him. Couple of swings and misses. Really exciting. Really excited to see what he can do, because he's firmly in to the conversation of guys that will get some time, most likely with the Dodgers this upcoming year. Has options to be able to go up and down, and those guys are incredibly valuable for this organization.
They absolutely are. Okay, I want you to go over this. You can't say this too many times. Santiago Espinal. Why does he have maybe even a better than average chance of impacting this team? Maybe even being on the opening day roster, according to you. What make your case for that again? I know you've done this a couple of times. Make it again.
Yes. The reason why Santiago Espinal has, I would say, a decent to perhaps above average percent chance of making the opening day roster has to do with some of his versatility that he can have in the infield, but particularly his ability to play third base and second base while also being able to hit against left-handed pitching. Overall in his career, it's a 107 WRC plus against left-handed pitching. And that's nothing that's spectacular, but if you are comparing that to some of the other players that are on this roster that could get opportunities versus lefties early in the season, that is better than a lot of those guys. That is a better WRC plus than what Max Muncy has the past couple of seasons against left-handed pitching. Max Muncy last year, I think it was a 78 WRC plus against lefties, 81 the past couple of years, something like that in that range. If you're looking for some additional rest to these options, Santiago Espinal is able to provide some of that rest. He also has been pretty solid defensively, and I think we saw that even with the play, didn't get the out at first base, but with the nice diving play for Espinal early in the game, you saw that he has the ability to play third base, and I think it was a statement where the organization played him. He played 75 games at third base last year with 3 outs above average, 2 fielding run value. In about 75 different games, I think it was for Espinal last year. He has the ability to be a right-handed bench bat that could be at least a partial platoon option early in the season while Tommy Edman is out with an injury. Because Edman is a much better hitter against left-handed pitchers than he is against righties, he would play in the everyday role. And then Miguel Rojas likely would be the platoon option potentially with Max Muncy because Max Muncy struggles a little bit more against lefties. Now that Edman is out, you're looking at the infield options that are part of this team. And you have a Miguel Rojas, who's already going to be a part of this roster. But then you have a Kim and Freeland, much better against righties than they are against lefties, or at least that's what the organization believes they're going to be going forward. If you want to balance it out on this roster, to be able to at least sustain some time going forward before Edman is out, and you want another infielder that can go ahead and hit against left-handed pitching to potentially give a couple days off to Max Muncy before Edman comes back. Espinal fits that profile really well in a way that neither Kim or Freeland, who are fighting for a second base position, can't really fill in that role. And especially if you want to roster both Kim and Freeland, somebody is not going to get a whole lot of plate appearances during that time. And if somebody's not going to get a whole lot of plate appearances, might as well continue their development at the minor league level. And even if it's not a whole lot of opportunities, doing that to somebody like a Santiago Espinal, who at least is a stopgap option until Edman returns, who has a lot of big league experience, could be in the cards for Espinal. He's looking to take advantage of as many opportunities as he possibly can going forward this spring. And it was a pretty good start for Espinal. Put him in the 5-hole, got a base hit, got I believe 2 walks as well. Really good start for Espinal, had to dive and play at third base. Somebody that you are going to have to watch out for this spring training because there is a good chance he could at least start the season with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
See, when you tell guys like that, hey, here's what we're asking you to do. We're not asking you to get a base hit. We're asking you to do this one thing specifically, okay? That's it, okay? This is your role. Then a lot of times guys like that can go, well, hell, I can do that. I can do that with my eyes closed. Then they gain confidence, and then they become the best version of what they're being asked to do that they possibly can be. And then what they're actually asking to do for them to be able to do is something that turns into being very valuable to the team because they get very good at that one or a couple of things. We saw that over and over and over with the Toronto Blue Jays. I think he's the type of guy that could fit in that type of way. Hey, we're not asking him to do everything. We're asking him to do 1 or 2 things, do those 1 or 2 things very well, and if you do those very well, it'll be a big service to this club.
And by the way, Santiago Espinal, his 1 hit that he had today, had a couple of walks, came off a left-handed pitcher. That is exactly what the organization is asking him to do.
Yes. So we have a question here. Hey, by the way, Mike Lopez, how about this? You know you're on a pretty good baseball chat whenever You have a comment left that Patrick Copen, right-handed pitcher. Jackson Ferris, left-handed pitcher. Nick Frosso, right-handed pitcher. Adam Sirwanowski, left-handed pitcher. Jose Rodriguez, right-handed pitcher. Luke Fox, left-handed pitcher. What other chat on earth are you going to have somebody leave that right there about those guys in the chat and know about them? How about that, huh? And, by the way, if you join this chat, these spring training games are a blast because instead of going, well, all I want to see is Shohei Ohtani, all I want to see is Teo, you're actually excited whenever Antonio Knowles comes in, or you're like, well, hey, they were talking about Luke Fox, this lefty over here, how his sequencing is real good and that we need to kind of pay attention to how he sets hitters up. You get into that kind of thing, and that makes it really, really fun. That's a big-time comment there. But we have a question here from Al Minerva. If there is anybody that disappointed you today, who would it be? I think probably Alex Freeland, and I think it goes to the exact point, not just, again, it's not results. I think it goes back to what you've been saying all off season. I want to see him swing the bat more. I want to see him be way more aggressive. So there's an old saying that you can't hit your way off the island, meaning you're not going to walk your way off the island, right? I want to see Alex Freeland hit his way off the island and hit his way into being an everyday major leaguer for this club, not being passive, trying to overthink things or trying to walk too much. I was disappointed. I thought he could have been more aggressive today. Am I wrong there?
All right, let me provide a little bit of pushback on that because Alex Freeland went into his first plate appearances, which I believe was a new pitcher. I believe somebody from the minor league system from the Angels organization. He threw four straight balls. When we were talking about the aggressiveness with Alex Freeland, I don't want him swinging at balls. I want him to be more aggressive on pitches inside the zone. Can't do anything about that. 4 straight balls. You're not going to do anything about that. In his second plate appearances, just 1 called strike and 4 balls. Another walk that he had. Perhaps.
Yeah, but I'm hitting that one. What I'm trying to tell you, if I'm in a JV game, okay.
Yes.
I have so much experience with this. So you have a JV game after a varsity game. And if you ever have a varsity player or a player that's fighting for a varsity spot, you tell them that literally the last thing you want to do is walk. I don't want you to. So if you get 1 strike out of any of your at-bats tonight, you got to hit that 1 strike. That's the whole point about Alex Freeland to me.
That's fair enough, but I don't want Alex Freeland to expand the zone just for the sake of expanding the zone or swinging more. I want him to be aggressive more when pitches come inside of the zone, yes. And that 1 pitch was on a 3-0 pitch that came inside the zone. Next pitch was ball 4.
Hit it. Don't walk. Why walk there? Why take that 3-0 pitch?
I don't know, but it also is he's not getting a whole lot of pitches to be able to hit. That is my point when I'm talking about with Alex Freeland during the game today. His third plate appearances, which is his final plate appearances, first 2 pitches were balls. His third pitch that he was given, which was one of the 2 swings that he had on the day, just barely missed being an extra base hit down the line. Otherwise, it would be a 2 walks plus an extra base hit for Alex Freeland on the day today, and then ended up popping out on the next pitch. That was at least good contact on the pitch beforehand. When you're talking about the aggressiveness of Alex Freeland, in part that has to do with he has to be given good enough pitches to be able to hit. And I think that's something where he wasn't given a ton to be able to hit, but certainly is something to watch out for going forward. But I don't think with Freeland's performance today, at least with what he was given, I'm disappointed with Alex Freeland. I just don't think there was a ton of opportunities for him to be able to take advantage of today. Certainly a player to be able to watch out for going forward with his battle with Hae-Sung Kim at the second base position.
I don't think there were any ABS challenges in this game. Yes, there was one, but they don't put it up on the screen because that's the only facility in spring training that there's no video board. So tomorrow and from every game moving forward, there will be ABS challenges, and when they do, they will go up on the board and they will go up on the TV screen, and you'll see the challenge system is absolutely awesome. So if I were to ask you that same question, is there one person or anything that happened today that you were disappointed in?
Not overly, only because I'm not taking too much stock in the spring training games. DePaula struck out a couple times, but he also did have the base hit, which happened to be other way base hit, which is totally like what DePaula has done during his tenure with Great Lakes. So a couple of those strikeouts perhaps could be a little bit of a disappointment. Otherwise, when you're talking about a 15-2 game overall, it was a really good performance overall by the organization. A lot of players ended up getting hits. Perhaps you could say maybe Ryan Ward was a little bit disappointing, a couple of strikeouts too. He's certainly somebody to be able to watch because he's not fully fighting for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's fighting for any opportunity that can present itself from other organizations just because of the limited opportunities that are likely to be there for the Dodgers. Somebody that's to be able to watch you. That would probably be the answer, only because I'm rooting so hard for Ryan Ward to be able to find some sort of success for the 2026 season, just so we can have an opportunity. And I just don't want him to be discouraged, because there would be good reason to be discouraged based on the outlook of what things appear to be at this point. But you can't be discouraged at that point. You got to get your head down and get to work.
Cam Day, we've been telling you about him too. He's a guy that if you go back and watch your interview, there's two things that you're going to get out of that. One is that he has red hair. He definitely has red hair. And two is he hit 100 miles an hour last year. That was at the end of last year, 100 miles an hour. And the thing is, that pitcher right there, he's not about velo. He's about turning the ball left, turning the ball right. He's about, see that movement? See how that ball, that had that ride and run to it, that Emmett Sheehan right turn? You just saw the left turn. He's all about movement and getting the ball to come off of center plane. And see that? And moving it off the barrel. And then whenever you add 100 miles an hour to all of that movement, this is a guy that is very, very, very dirty. He has some of the best stuff of any pitcher in all of minor league baseball. It's being Kasperius all over again. It's execution. Can he execute? We saw that even today. He was in and out of the zone, but all in all, at the end of the day, I think if you watch Cam Day, you had to watch him and go, and especially if you did it with knowing in the back of your mind, that guy hit 100 miles an hour last August. If you watched him knowing that and having that in the back of your mind, I think you had to leave today pretty darn impressed with Cam Day. Yeah, with his potential at least.
Absolutely. It was a 98.5 was the hardest velo that he hit today, which is really good early in spring training. Yeah, really good performance for Cam Day. Got a pair of strikeouts. One, I believe, was on the four-seam fastball. Got the swing and miss. Then also got a little bit of backdoor curveball that he was able to get a called strike on. Really excited for Cam Day going forward. Yeah, there is a lot of movement that comes off of his pitches. Just overall with his pitch mix that he had today, you got the four-seam fastball through the curveball, and then the sinker is what they're describing it as for his pitch mix today. Really excited to be able to see what Cam Day was able to do. Really hard velo, but there's a lot of movement that makes it to where it's not just hard velo, but it's straight. There's a lot of movement going on right there, and makes it so difficult for hitters to be able to fully be able to make complete contact for him. He's going to have a big year, big season for him at Great Lakes last year. It's going to be a fun season for him to be able to watch in Tulsa this upcoming year.
Okay, I got to bounce because I got things to do. It is Saturday night in the big town. We wanted to hop on and get some of our quick thoughts. You won't be able to get on a show for another week or so because you're going to spring training, correct?
That is correct. First off, before I go ahead and talk about that, we actually do just have a $1.99 super chat.
Oh, cool.
It is Showtime LA. Thank you very much for the super chat. How much more better friendly is Tulsa than Great Lakes? I'd have to dive into that a little bit more. It's dependent on the time of year, because Great Lakes early in the season is very much a pitcher-friendly environment because it's freezing outside. You're talking about the Midwest. You're talking about 40-degree weather for the first month, maybe 2 months. If you're lucky. And then it's 50 degrees for the month of May before it gets up into the 60s by the end of the month. And then it's nice baseball weather right there. I don't think last year it was super heavy offensive environment in the Texas League in the 2025 season. But what I would like to do is look at the past couple of seasons to be able to look to see how the run scoring environment was for the Midwest League and for the Texas League. But I would say it's a more hitter friendly environment than what the Midwest League is. I would say it's another step from that. I think the Pacific Coast League, because some of the ballparks that you go to, particularly ballparks like Albuquerque, where it's very much a hitter-friendly environment, that's where it's a big step. So I would say between Midwest League and Texas League, it's a step upwards of an offensive environment. But from the Texas League to the Pacific Coast League, it is probably a bigger step than what it is to the gap between Texas League and Midwest League and Texas League and the Pacific Coast League, just in run scoring type of environment, I think is just another huge step in comparison to the step from high A to double A. Really good question. So I'm curious to be able to see how that impacts some of the hitters going forward. Can't thank you enough. Yeah, as Casey had mentioned, going to be headed down to spring training. Got my flight that leaves Monday night from the general area. So I'll be going to games, I think Tuesday through Friday is what I'll be doing. Flying back late Friday. So I will not be doing any shows next week until maybe about a week from today, probably after I think there's a doubleheader game on Saturday. Potentially could be able to do a show then at some point to be able to talk about spring training at that point. So Casey will have to take the reins for the next week or so before I'm back. And I'm really excited to be able to go back down to spring training and see a bunch of these guys.
We'll get Coach Holt or Watkins or somebody on the show, and we'll get after it. So it'll be a lot of fun. Hey, Austin, appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate you, Case.
Hey, I want to thank all you wonderful Dodgers dogs out there. What a first day of games and spring training it was. Super exciting. So thank you again so much for tuning in. As always, don't forget, it's a great day to be a Dodger.